And will you guys, I guess like there's a subscription or like a, yearly cost or whatever, but will you make money off like when there is an event or, a championship like will you make money from sponsors or make money from streaming, or is that?
I have a real problem like slapping somebody's logo on a kid and like basically pimping them out to the world. Like that's not what I want to be about, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so if Lenovo came to us and said we really want to sponsor you guys and let me put my logo on your jersey, I'd be like, probably not. Um, Now, if there was some context to that, if it was like St. Jude's or something like that, who obviously has a really big investment into making kids' lives better, or if it was some other organization like that, okay, maybe we would make some kind of exception in that regard. But sponsorships to me, if you look at sponsorships in the esports world, it reminds me, I'm old enough to remember the internet when it wasn't a big thing yet. And in 1999, everybody was going to throw up a banner ad on their website and they were going to be millionaires. And that's what I think sponsorship networks are today to
Yeah,
esports. It's a great hope and prayer, but if you don't see the ROI on it, it's never
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be anything,
Got
and
it.
it won't continue. It may have a fleeting moment, which even banner ads did, right? And some part of that is going to continue. Google makes billions and billions of dollars, but some part of that, like right now, just slapping logos on stuff and then like having a commercial run, in between tournaments, it's just not working. And so
Yeah.
we're going to figure some model with sponsorship, but I just don't feel like that's a model move forward for us. Not in a monetization strategy.
Yeah. I think that's a really nice approach, and it sounds like you're giving it a lot of thought because a lot of other people would not have thought as much. They would probably just say, "Oh yeah, like we need this." Like this is the way
Yeah,
that it's done. So yeah, I think it's really interesting.
it is the way it's done. It's unfortunately not the way it's been hasn't been working
Yeah.
out for a lot of people.
Yep.
Um, I don't, I didn't, and to the tournament, entry fees and all that. I think part of being a part of our organization is that you don't have to do that. Like
Sure.
it is my plan as of right now that none of our tournaments will have entry fees if you're part of our organization and what we're doing already. You've already paid your entry, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's
No, that makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So, like for if we're keeping that like t-ball little league comparison, like if these kids show up to practice or yeah practice sessions, whatever you're gonna call it, when do they get to the game, or when do they get to the championship, or do they get to the
yeah.
championship? What are they
So we run
guaranteed?
4 seasons a year, and so you can be a champion of each game in each season. Just like kind of traditional sports, the season still goes on, but you're a part of the training and you practice year round. And
Okay.
so yeah, so you can any season you can be a champion. We do have a little bit of unorthodox, a little bit unorthodox. You don't get on a team right away with us. You don't. So we call those the early people come in, and then they spend about a month with us before they get placed on a team. And
Okay.
it takes a little time to get a customized jersey and a lot of things that are going on in that time. So there's some good reasons for that. But then after you kind of prove yourself, you kind of learn what does it mean to be non-toxic? How do I control my emotions both when I win and when I lose? What does it mean to be a good team player? All these things that we require kind of as our creed. Then we say, okay, you've done that, you've passed that. Here's your jersey as your transition into becoming a teammate. Here's your team. And it's
Nice.
probably going to be a couple of guys that they were in that early stage with, right? I mean,
Yep.
they all kind of leveled up at the same time, and they become recruits. We have recruit, elite, and then legendary status.
Very cool. It reminds me of like any good coming of age film where the kid is skateboarding and he finally gets the Zephyr sponsor in Dogtown,
Yeah,
or you know Anything, something like that. That's cool.
Well, we learned this in our old brands that kids like milestones. If you have to set the kind of next milestone ahead of them. When you get here, this happens. When you get here, this happens. When you get to this point, you're able to use this equipment. So we open up different things and different times, and that keeps them on path and keeps them, the carrot's still out there somewhere
Yep.
for them to go to the next level. And we want them to do that because, well, I mean, it's a business, first of all, so you do have to keep them around for, 9 months to 12 months to make it profitable. But we also want them to do that because the curriculum taken all at once would be too hard to consume. And so
Yep.
we want you to practice we want to teach you what you need to know, practice what we've taught you, and then we're going to come back and tell you what we've taught you just to make sure you got it. And so that's kind of our approach to all of it. And so we need you around for a little while to really get to that
Yeah.
next level. And I'm not just talking about mastery. I'm talking about self-control, talking about leadership. I'm talking about teamwork, communication. All those things take time and practice. And
Yep.
so that's what we do with them over that period of time.
That makes a lot of sense. I think that's part of the reason people like gaming a lot too, is because inherently as human beings, and whether you're a kid, adult, you need like some incentives, or you need some boxes to check, and gaming obviously is great for that. Like, I just did good in a game, I won, so I get a new character, I get a new skin,
Oh yeah, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, milestoning is built into most of the games, unlocking the characters and whatnot.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems, I guess, pretty. I think it goes very well with. It would go well with a curriculum and with
Right.
like a campaign like you guys are running. So that's interesting. Other things I wrote down. I noticed. I mean, Leaguefeed is a League of Legends centric site, obviously. So how much of League of Legends, or how many players do you have of League of Legends, and how, is that a big?
We haven't cracked that nut just yet.
Okay.
Yeah, 150 champions, thousands of items. I think it's a little bit hard for a 8-year-old to kind of get into that world. Which, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it sounds like an opportunity. By the way, I think it's an open opportunity for us to be successful in that space. But most kids are coming in asking for different games. I think you would agree that that's an 18 and up
Yeah.
predominantly game.
Yeah.
So we haven't really gotten to that too much yet. Very open to hearing discussions on how we think we can get younger players more involved. Maybe we limit the champions. I don't know. I'm saying champion, but I know nothing about the game, so I think there's something like that. But we limit some of the things that they can use and different milestones, and then put them through their pacing a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not just like super free for all the time.
Yep.
And it's just too much to consume. So you got to take it kind of bite by bite.
Yeah, I guess is like how you choose games. Like, I guess what goes into that. Are you basically choosing games from the coaches that you guys have, or are you choosing games from what the kids are interested in, or
The
both?
latter, yeah. The kids are demanding Fortnite. We play Fortnite 2 days a week. If
Yep.
they're demanding, Valorant, then we do that. Overwatch.
Cool.
It's got to be games that can kind of conducive to the more kid-friendly stuff. And so we're also testing non-video games. So we're testing chess. We're testing
cool.
some of the board games.
Nice. Yeah. One of the other sites that Treasure Hunter owns is called mykindofmeeple.com, and that's a trading card and board game site. So yeah, I know. I mean, the content around that is seemingly endless too. And I mean, there's 1,000,001 strategies for all these games, whether it's, chess or Magic the Gathering or all these other kind of interesting games that aren't, digital. But I digress there.
It's hard to track this nationally. Let's say we have 100 arenas open next year. It would be hard for us to kind of track those board games nationally and come up with a system. We are building an internal system right now to track all of our tournament play, though. And so that'll be a free league tracking system that will open up to the public. I think there's definitely a need for that right now. there's a lot of pay to play kind of things out there that are pretty good, but most schools don't have that much money. And if you want to run a little local tournament, why should you have to pay that much? So that's
Yeah.
kind of our mentality about it.
Cool. And I guess one of the questions I wrote down that I was interested in talking to you about, kind of like danced around it, but like obviously you said the game toxicity, and then obviously there's the competition element. So like, how do you guys kind of blend that when you're teaching? Like, you want to win and you want to get better, obviously. So that's like the competition side of it. Not there are winners, there are losers, and sports and esports teaches that. But then balancing that with the toxicity, like you said, knowing how to win, knowing how to lose, and not getting to that toxic level. Like, what's your, I guess, way of teaching that? Because it is such a complex issue.
Sure,
Not,
it's an emotional thing, and we're dealing with kids.
Yeah.
Haven't had fully brain development, right? I mean, there's still very much passion over logic, right? And so that only comes through practice and time. You have to, it's not all carrots and sticks. It's just repetition. Sometimes it's saying, bashing your keyboard isn't going to really help you become better. If you have that frustration, maybe you talk to your buddy sitting next to you. How can we get better instead of just taking it out on the keyboard? By the way, that keyboard's $45. You're gonna have to, I know. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of different methodologies that we use. We go back to tried and true methodologies too. We work with a lot of educators, instructors. We didn't invent coaching. Like coaching for any sport is going to work for this and set some core level. And so we've really navigated some of those kind of already tried and true methodologies into what we do and how we do it. Dealing with emotional energy and trying to stay calm, that's like 90% of it, right? And just in like figuring out your kind of triggers for these moments of outrage or these moments of toxicity. If somebody says something to you, how do you react? Well, it's not, they're bad for saying it to you, but you're worse. You're just as bad if you react negatively. Like, how do you handle that situation? I mean, the easy thing is just turn them off. You don't have to say anything. Like, just maybe they just never realized that. You don't have to say you're such a jerk whenever somebody's a jerk to you. Like, just turn them off. You don't have to listen to it anymore. It's easy. There's a solution there that you maybe just haven't come across. And then especially girl gamers right now are getting it the worst. They got voice changers and stuff so they don't get picked on. And I just hate that for them because I think this is one of those few sports, if you want to call it that it's certainly one of the few competitions out there in the world that women and men are really on the same playing field, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know why they have women's leagues in this. Like, I think if they want to dedicate the time and energy, they could be just as good as a guy on any of it. Minus the toxicity that a bunch of kind of jerk dudes are throwing out there, right? So like, let's get that out of the system. Let's give them that even playing field that they deserve to play on, and make sure that we all hold ourselves accountable on both sides, and let's see what happens. And we see a lot of girl gamers really thriving in our world. And so we're happy about that.
No, it's true. I definitely agree, and I feel like the internet and obviously gaming is there's so many people involved. So just like there's so many people involved, there are people represented in the esports or the streaming or everything that are doing their own special thing, whatever it is. But I think it's really interesting.
I'm not calling out any organization or anything that's doing special things for girls. I think that's great. I mean, the Gamers is doing great stuff. I saw some stuff online about them, and there's a lot of different groups doing their thing. I'm just saying, like, it would be great if it was just an even playing field without the toxic screaming from these guys who are just salty. They got beat by anybody, but picking on the girl, right?
Yeah. I mean, and again, that's I guess where you guys step in, and that's
Yeah.
another lesson for you guys. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and I think that's why we're seeing such the success rate and the parity on girls and boys being involved, and you know, and it's kind of that's you asked me what's kind of exciting. That is kind of the exciting part is we see a lot of girl gamers getting involved and really enjoying themselves and being a part of it, equal members of teams and stuff.
Sweet. No, that's really cool. I guess to kind of wrap some of this up. What's next for you guys? Do you have any big events coming? Do you
We do a Ragnarok. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. We do a Ragnarok event 2 times a year. Early in the year, usually Q1 sometime, is going to be Rise to Ragnarok. That kind of sets the stage for our bigger event, which just happened a couple of weeks ago. So we're kind of in the middle of our big events, but you know, every single season, we just kicked off fall season, so it'll be rolling out. I think we're in week 5 of that, so a few weeks we'll finish that. We'll go into winter. Winter is kind of where we try some different stuff out. It's a little bit shorter of a season, so we try some new stuff. And if you like that kind of thing, you jump on board and get involved. We're always running camps. We're always running different workshops and micro tournaments. The local arenas are now running their own local leagues too. So
very cool.
Yeah. So if you want to be your hometown hero, you can do that, or you want to become a national hero. Or now, you know, we're also rolling out into Europe and the UK pretty strong. We just signed a master franchisee in the UK, and they're going to roll out probably 100 units over the next 2 years, 100 arenas or so over the next 2 years, and then we're getting the groundwork for a European expansion right now, and that could be huge. You know, Europe has 4 times as many people and a third the geography. So it's very dense and very populated. And we feel like there's a big need for what we're offering all throughout Europe, especially like Denmark, Holland, Germany, France, places where it's already, you know, very popular. Esports is blowing up over there. And so I think we'll do well in those spaces.
Yeah, I mean,
the name works very well in the Norwegian parts of the world.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean, I work with writers from all over the world, obviously. So, you know, they'll be hearing about this for sure when we post it. But yeah, I mean, there's almost infinite possibilities and infinite interest, it seems, out there. So
so that's our next couple of years, is just really honing in on that, keeping true to our message, keeping true to the underlying value proposition of esports in general is to have a good time. And then do it in a way that's
100%.
A fair, competitive environment. And that's really what we want to set up for our kids.
Very cool. Well, one more final question to ask. What are you, David Graham? What games are you playing right now? What's most interesting to you?
Yeah, I get this a lot. So everybody thinks I'm like a super hot big gamer. I do run a few companies, so I don't have a ton of time. But
it's tough, right?
I spend some time with my kids, and so that's kind of our time together. And they like Overwatch and Apex, and so I think that's probably where I spend most of my playing time right now.
Cool. Yeah, it's the thing called work gets in the way of a lot of those gaming.
Yeah, my day would have been great if it wasn't for all that work I had to do. Right.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. This is something that I'm passionate about. I get to come to work and I work with all my best friends, so it's kind of awesome in that regard. We just do fun stuff and build bigger companies and better, so we can help more people. I mean, it's just great. So
cool. Well, thanks again, David. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure the viewers on Leaguefeed will love to hear about this.
Let me know how I can get League of Legends into it. I mean,
we're gonna put that question out there to our writers and editors, and hopefully on online too. So maybe we'll get some coaches coming forward or something.
There you go. We need to get a bigger youth involvement in League of Legends. I think everybody agrees on that.
I'm sure our writers in our community would agree too. However, they do love playing, you know, Valorant and some of the other games as well. But yeah, I'm sure they'd love to see you guys get into some League.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thanks, David.